Thanks for joining the CC America podcast, where we are getting mentally fit through testimonies of faith, inspiration, and transformation. We hope you enjoy the show. This is a live recording of the CC America podcast. So good morning. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am here with the fabulous owner, Shana Arnold, LPN, and owner of Shafierce Boutique, Shafierce Collection. So you'll see that we're both wearing some of her fabulous designs here. And she also sells jewelry, and I'm also wearing her lipstick. So we are super excited to have Shana here. She is going to talk to you all about how she's turned her dreams into a reality and how she has stopped fear from stopping her in terms of pursuing her dreams. So certainly super excited. I'm going to have Shana introduce herself as well. I always like to start each of the shows off with prayer. But just so you all are aware, the CC America podcast was created to inspire the lives of others through service, dedication, and faith. And one way in which that occurs is through the podcast. So I do like to start us off in prayer just to set the mood, and then we will get started. So, Lord God, we come to you now, giving you praise, glory, and honor, thanking you for this day, this time of fellowship. I thank you for my sister in love. I thank you for this opportunity to be able to talk to her and allow her to share her passion and her dreams with the world. We pray that everyone will be blessed by this message and that everyone and their families are doing well. We pray that they will be encouraged, uplifted, and strengthened during this time. We pray for protection and covering. And Lord, that you would just allow this message to resonate with those listening now and those who will listen in the future. In Jesus' name I pray. Thank you. Amen. All right. So, Shana, thank you so much. So yes, you can see we have some dope lighting here. Thanks to Shafierce herself. I'm loving this light, but it is bright. Oh, that rhymes. I was a poet and didn't know it. So, Shana, thank you so much for joining the show today. I'm live. We are super excited to have you here. Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do?
Okay. How can I sum it up? So I am I'm an LPN. I've been an LPN for the past 2 years, working in public health. Also, I own a clothing boutique, or I'll say like a one-stop shop, all-girls clothing boutique called Shafierce Collection. Just trying to serve, all women, just serving whomever. I kind of want to cater to, nurses in particular, because of course everybody thinks nurses just go to work from Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or even 12-hour shifts, and we don't have any fun. We don't like to dress up. You just see us in nursing scrubs, uniform, and don't get to see, our outside personality when we're not at work. So I just kind of wanted to start something that kind of coincided with my nursing, because I love to do both. So
awesome. So how has this pandemic affected you from a nursing standpoint and from your business standpoint?
So pros and cons. From the nursing standpoint, this may sound strange, but it's affected me a little bit negatively, because I was a school nurse during the pandemic. And of course, once school shut down, I was out of a job once school shut down. So it kind of it wasn't good for me. Of course, I could do other work, but at that moment, I was working as a school nurse, which I enjoyed doing. So, when that was over, it was kind of over for me at that moment. But it also was a good thing as well, because it helped me to start to focus on my second dream, which is to start my boutique, or to work harder on my boutique. And just try to bring more content to you guys, and just more options, and just try to expand or whatever on my boutique. So I've had a lot of time to kind of work on that and expand. And for people who do know me, for those that do know me, I started this so many years ago, and it's changed drastically. I probably changed something every single year that I've started Shafierce Collection. But I feel like during the pandemic, it kind of helped me, even though I was out of a job, nursing, it still kind of helped me, really put together Shafierce collection the way that I want to put Shafierce collection together, and, put that effort and that time in to get the things done that I need to get done to push my boutique further. So
awesome. Really excited to hear that, and so proud of you. As she's mentioned, she's been working hard, working in the nursing field, building her brand on social media. You can check out her page on Instagram, Shafierce Collection, on IG, and then shafierce.com is where you can look at her website and see these fabulous designs and the items that she sells. So with regard to your dreams, tell us how you got here. So how did you decide to turn your passion for fashion and also all things beauty into a business?
I just knew, so for years before I even started Shafierce Collection, which was like 2015, I always knew that I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. This is the only work I've ever done is healthcare. But I always had the fashionable side to me too. Like, I love to dress up. I love makeup. I just like to look pretty. I want to put on, all the accessories and jewelry and just match and just look good, feel good. Because when you look good, you feel good. True. So I was like, I want to come up with something to where I can do both. Just because I'm a nurse does not mean I can't start a business doing something else. So I was trying to figure out, how can I merge the two together? So I came up with the concept, which is what I'm currently working on as well. It's just trying to, target people like us. And it doesn't even have to be a nurse. It could just be the average working person that work 9 to 5. And, weekends off, you want to look good, you want to feel good, you want to go out and enjoy life. So I came up with the concept, a girl that can do both. So nice. working woman, and fabulous at the same time. So I came up with a girl that can do both. So now I'm just trying to, incorporate different looks and add different things to the boutique. It's, for the working girl and for, the fashionable girl. So
fantastic. Yeah. Awesome. Well, she knows that I absolutely love the brand, love everything about it. And like I mentioned earlier, my parent, this is my sister in love. I have to give credit to Tasha Jordan for that one. I love it. Instead of saying sister-in-law, sister in love. And I was like, yes, Tasha, I like that. So yes, Tasha, thank you. Credit. So yes, she is also my sister in love. And so being able to witness this journey has been really inspiring and encouraging. And it's just awesome to see her be able to juggle all of these things at one time and still keep all the balls in the air. So what advice would you have for someone who may be struggling to take that next step? So this might be the piece where, so you may have read in the description where she talked about how she turned her fears around, and not allowing the fear to stop her. And as you said, I love it. The devil is a liar, because he is. And that's so true. He will try to trick us and make us think that we can't do or we can't be. So I really love to have you tell the people what you meant by that. And you may see us like checking our phones, but so we can look at the comments and respond to you all online. So I'm going to check Facebook now since I know we're live there. So I'm going to turn it back over.
So I would just say I know, I mean, it's easier said than done as far when it comes to fear, because we all have certain fears and we all have certain things that stop us from wanting to go to the next level or just wanting to do something for ourselves, because that little bit of fear of maybe rejection or just being told no, or, thinking that, oh, people might not like this or they may not like me. I struggled with that for the past couple of years. I struggled with that a lot. And I've learned that, you just have to put yourself out there. Unfortunately, there are people out there that are going to judge you regardless of if you're doing good, if you're doing bad, if your product is the bomb, or if it's not, whatever the case is. They're going to always have an opinion and judge, but their opinion should not stop you from pushing through and doing what it is you want to do, because there's somebody out there that's watching you, or people out there that's watching you. And most of the time what I found out is the good always outweigh the bad. Like, you may have your fan base may be here, and then you're gonna have, those negative comments or those negative people here. But as long as you have this doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So I just did this year. I just decided, I was like, you know what? I really feel like, this pandemic was, I mean, don't get me wrong. COVID go away. I don't want COVID, I wish it go away, whatever the case is. However, the whole thing has worked out for the good because it's given me time to actually sit and think and evaluate myself and just my thought process when it comes to starting my business or pushing my business out further. And I just said, you know what? I'm going for it. Like, whether people like it or not, I'm going for it. I'm going to keep going. And you have to know, I feel like you have to know what you can bring, and you have to have that confidence. I know, at least I think I do. The people that's in my circle, I think I touch them. So I'm sure if I could reach them and I could touch them in an inspiring way, I could do that to the world. So, what better time to do it than now? I have the time to sit and research and think of ideas and things to do. So just do it. I mean, everything's not going to be perfect when you first do it. Like, I was afraid of doing video because I'm like, oh, I don't look right on video, or I'm doing it from my phone, it doesn't look right. But it's like, no, just do it. Once you get bigger or you keep going and you generate the revenue to add new things, like, a better camera or whatever the case is, you'll get to that point. But everybody had to start somewhere. And once I kept processing that and just saying, Shayna, they started here. They didn't start with this huge platform or whatever the case is. You just have to go. You have to just start and do it. And I found that once I started that, I started to generate customers, and I started to generate, a following and stuff like that. So all it took was for me to just, erase that fear and just keep going and put my stuff out there. You're going to see some things like you'll see on social media, where people are saying like, oh, in 6 months I made $1 million, or my company brought me here in 6 months. And sometimes that can be discouraging because you're like, I've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years. Why do it only take them 6 months? But doing my research, I found out that it's not necessarily true for everybody, or that's not how the process started off. It didn't start that way. They may have started their business a few years ago, but once they figured out, I guess you call it the trick or whatever, or once they figured out, okay, this is what I need to do, and they were consistent for those 6 months, that's how they generated that revenue or whatever, to make their business a $1 million business or whatever the case is, or 6-figure business or whatever. So, I mean, that's all it takes. So I would encourage, people that are starting a small business or a business in general, just to not let what you see on social media or anywhere, discourage you because you feel like, oh, I've been doing it for so long, and how did they get rich before me, or how did they get successful before me? We never know what their story was, So we have to just keep going and just have that faith and consistency. That's another thing. Like I said, I found out about myself, consistency. I was never consistent, ever consistent. I was flip-flopping. I didn't know how to put all of my ideas together. Like, I had so many ideas, and I'm like, I don't know how to put it all together. I wanted to rush it. I was like, well, why I can't do this, or why I can't do that? But the moment I started to be consistent was the moment I started seeing, okay, this is really working. It's really happening. It's working, and set small goals for yourself. Don't go out and just be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to set a goal that by March next year, I'm going to make $2 million. I think that although, you can follow any goal, any dream that you have, but let's be realistic and rationalize. If you're just starting off in a business, let's say give yourself a 6-month goal of $20,000 or $10,000. Give yourself small goals. If you give yourself small goals, and when you reach to that point, that goal date, and you don't make it, say you say $20,000 and you only make about $5,000, you won't be as disappointed because you're close to your goal and you made this. So when you start to make those big goals and you don't reach them by your goal date, then it starts to discourage you a little bit, and it's like, oh man, well, I can't. Again, going back to, why is it happening for them? It happened for them in 6 months. Why is it not happening for me? And it's like, you have to set small goals for yourself, just for your mental. Like, I've learned that a lot, like small goals. and take baby steps. You don't have to rush it. Like, just stay consistent and take baby steps. And like I said, just don't let what you see or somebody else's success, make you think that you can't do it. I have a lot of people saying that, well, everybody's selling the same thing, everybody's doing the same thing, which is, true. Everybody, you see a lot of trends. You see a lot of people probably selling the same products or, doing the same thing. However, what I would encourage people to do is, even though you see them selling the same thing, figure out what's going to make your brand different from their brand. Think about how you can change. Okay, we're selling the same item, but how can you change your look from the way hers look, if that makes sense? You know what I mean? Because there's so many ways to style things. There's so many things to wear things. So, just try to figure out what can make you different from that other person. Lipsticks and lip glosses. Everybody does lipsticks and lip glosses. A lot of ladies wear lipstick and lip glosses. What's going to make your lip gloss? Why would they buy your lip gloss instead of her lip gloss? Or why would they buy yours and hers? Because you wore it different or she wore it this way. So then they buy both. So you just can't think about the fact that everybody's doing the same thing. You just have to focus on what's going to make you different from them. And those are the things that's been helping me for the past couple of months, really push my brand. Just trying to, find that difference. And interacting with people. Don't be scared to reach out to people on social media. I was scared of doing that too, because I'm like, they don't know me. Why they gonna comment back? Why they gonna say something back to me? But once I started doing that, I have conversations with people daily that I don't even know.
Nice.
I hope I'm not going.
Oh no, keep going. This is good. In my head, I'm making little mental nuggets of all the tidbits that are being shared. So I hope you're taking notes.
Another thing I would say is support too. So how can I say this without? Okay, so support. So when you're looking for support, it depends on who you're looking for support from. You can't expect everybody to support you, especially your close friends and your close family members. You can't expect everybody to support you. You have to put them, when it comes to business, you have to put them in the same category as you would a person you don't know. You know what I mean? Because just because they're family or your close friend does not mean that they want your product. They may not care for this particular product, but when you come out with something else, they may like it. So, you can't get offended or get mad because, oh, she's not supporting me. My family she don't want to buy this. I put that out there. But your mentality is saying, because that's my family member or because that's my close friend, I'm automatically supposed to buy that. That's not true. If that's not something that they will buy on a regular basis, you can't expect for them to buy it from you just because they know you. And you don't want to generate that type of traffic anyway, because when you sell your stuff to somebody, it's not always about the money. And for me in particular, I want you to love what I'm giving you. If you buy it, I want to make sure when you're buying it, I want to make sure you actually like it, put it to use. Money is everything. I don't want you to spend your money and you don't like a certain product, or you're just buying it because, oh, I need to support her, so let me just buy it. I encourage you not to do that. I encourage you to, if you're selling something and, somebody close to you or your family member or whatever the case is, they don't buy it from you, I wouldn't take that personal and let it discourage you. Because I do see a lot of comments and stuff like that about how family don't support this and the other. And I just look at it a little bit different. I just look at it as, maybe this is just not something that they like. And, as I continue to grow, I may add something that they may like and then they may support. Another thing is, and this is something that we do, I see Sabrina and Tasha is up here, so you guys can relate to what I'm about to say. So something that we do amongst each other, the four of us, I noticed that we share each other's things most of the time. Like we share posts and stuff like that. That's all the support you need, actually, from friends and family or from anybody. So that little bit of support there is enough. You know what I mean? Like, just buying something, no, if you can just share my stuff, or hey, you might not like it, but tell your friend about it, or tell your friend of a friend about, my product or whatever the case is. That to me is support, genuine support. So I would just say, yeah, just don't let little things discourage you. And it is easier said than done, because I'm getting better at that, I can say. With the discouraging things, I'm getting way better at just putting myself out there, not caring what anybody else say, and just, getting positive feedback or whatever. Um, I can tell you, a struggle that I have is, you know, time management, because I am in school. I'm trying to further my degree into registered nursing. As you guys know, as I stated before, I'm a licensed practical nurse, and I'm trying to transition into a registered nurse. So I'm in school. So, time management has just been crazy. It's been a struggle trying to, manage time. And I would say don't let that discourage you, because that can discourage you, because you feel overwhelmed, you feel tired. I do have 2 children, and I am married. So, I have a whole family. So you have to have that family time. School just started. So I have to make sure the kids are okay. I always have to make sure the husband's okay. Then I have to make sure Shafierce is okay. I have to make sure Shayna is okay. So, it's a lot to juggle. But, I would just encourage people to just keep going. Like, keep going. Like, when I tell you, like, Sabrina can relate, because I vent to Sabrina all the time about a lot about, the business thing and this and that and the other. And she always say, you need to just do it. You need to do that. Girl, you gotta do this. And I would never listen, or I would listen, but I just would not do it. And finally, I want to probably say since about May, when I really started doing Shafierce full force and like being consistent, I have seen so much growth within Shafierce. So I would just say to just keep going, and don't get discouraged. And when you feel like you're getting discouraged, I had put a post up, or distracted. I put a post up the other day, and I actually don't even usually post like these kind of posts, but it was on my mind, and I said, you know what, I need to post this because somebody else might, feel the same thing I feel sometimes. And the post that I put up says, never lose sight of your goals and block distractions through prayer. That is so true. When you feel like you're getting distracted, pray about it. Sit in a corner and just pray about it and ask God to just block that distraction. Whatever that distraction is, just block it, because distractions will throw you off. It will throw you all the way off. And we don't have time for that. We are trying to build a brand. We are trying to be entrepreneurs. So we can't let anything distract us at this point. Like, no, it has to go.
That is so true. Thank you so much, Shayna. She dropped a lot of nuggets, everyone. So I hope you were catching it. And I just want to share some of the comments. Thank you to all of our listeners on Facebook as well as Podbean. So Taz from Podbean said, man, I was never consistent. Never consistent. Heard Mama Universe. I love it. You're too busy focusing on everyone's ish. Focus on yours. Thanks, love, for this message. Be blessed. And thank you so much, Taz, for joining and for your feedback. And Benny just joined us. Thanks, Benny, for tuning in. And he was on Podbean as well. And then just to give you guys a few quick updates based on what you shared from Facebook, Quindle joined and said, yes, let me hear it. Faith over fear, consistency, small goals, good support. Thank you for summarizing. Yes. And Tiffany Perry, who's also a business owner, said, and don't get offended if they do use the product on a regular and still won't buy from you. Some people are just like that, unfortunately. So thanks to both of my cousins, Tiffany and Quindle, also for chiming in. And thank you, Shayna, for dropping all those awesome nuggets for everyone. So welcome again to the show. If anyone has any questions at any time that you would like to ask Shayna, let us know. Just post it in the comments. So yes, and really excited to have you all on. So thanks Sabrina and Tasha for tuning in. Thanks, Benny. Just thanks to each and every one of you. So let Shannon know, what feedback you have or what questions. But I agree with everyone, and what they stated is that Shannon has dropped a lot of good nuggets this morning with regard to things that apply to business, but I think also apply to life. So your consistency. Essentially, I'm thinking like what I took away from that is I have to be accountable for myself to do what I need to do on a regular basis and not be discouraged because of what I see. And it made me think of a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt that comparison is the thief of joy. And I saw that a long time ago, but when you were talking, it made me think, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Because we think that these people are making this money all at the beginning, but we don't see what's happening behind the scenes. We don't see the hardships. We don't see the tears. We don't see the fear. We don't see all of the things that people go through when they get from the valley to the mountaintop. And then you talked about setting small goals. I thought about my weight loss. I said, you know what? I need to use that tip because in my mind, I'm going to lose 50 pounds by next week. But it doesn't work that way. So, and then the support. I love that. We do sometimes give, our family and friends a hard time because we're looking for them to support every single thing we do, and it's just not possible. And to Shayna's point, they may not even like it. It has nothing to do with you, so don't take it personal. So yes, all fantastic nuggets and diversify.
When it comes to the family and the friend support, I try to block out negative thoughts when it comes to that. So I try to come up with something like, okay, let me just come up with something positive because we know we can take it there. Let's just be honest. True. We can take it there and we can just be like, oh, she's not supporting me, this and that and the other. But I was like, let me reprogram my thoughts and just maybe put myself in somebody else's shoes. Okay, what if it's not my family member and she was just a regular person? Or if it was me, if I don't care for that particular outfit or that particular gloss, I'm not going to buy that particular one. If she hasn't come out with anything else that if she comes out with something else that I like or I prefer, then I may purchase. That's just like a regular person. So I try to block the negative thoughts in my mind about people, that are close to me, that I want to support me. And I feel like, oh, they're not supporting me. I just had to turn that whole thing around. Like, no, you know what? Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And that goes back to my nursing. We are taught to be empathetic, just be empathetic. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes and just think, what would you do, And I try to reprocess my thoughts that way instead of just going straight to the negative. Because sometimes we can go there. We can go straight to the negative and not even see the other side first, I think most of us are guilty of that. I can say that I am. So, and especially with business, so much crosses your mind when it comes to business because you have to think, it's you, especially when you have your face behind your brand. It's like, people have to relate to you. People have to like you. But in order for you to be relatable, you have to be empathetic. You have to put yourself in their shoes too. And I think that's how you become relatable because it's like, you know what, if that was me, I wouldn't do that. So I'm not about to do this. You know what I mean? So I ain't about to, get mad at her because of this or get mad at him because of that. You just have to be empathetic, man, and put yourself in other people's shoes. And I think that's how you attract people. I think that's how you make sales. You can't always think about yourself, even though it's your business. You still have to put other people first because that's who you are targeting or marketing to. So you have to put other people first. It can't just be about you, even though it's your name behind the brand.
Oh, I love that. So it's no wonder that you are in nursing because in nursing you're giving of yourself on a regular basis. And so that's a really good point. A lot of great nuggets and things that, apply to life in general. So it applies to business especially, but when you think about life, it does apply for sure. And our sister in love says, I support you. I don't care if I can't fit the clothes, laugh out loud.
I'm in the process. I am in the process of trying to add, more sizes to my collection. We're still growing, so I appreciate your support. Just stick with us and continue to support. We'll get there. We'll get there sooner than you think.
So actually, I'm gonna piggyback on your comment.
Sure.
She's already getting there. So here's the thing. I am actually wearing a large, and I don't want to put myself out there, but you know what it is. I am a plus size woman. So I typically buy larger sizes, like a 2X, just to make sure that it's loose and can fit. And so she encouraged me yesterday to try on some pieces, and I was like, I don't think I can fit that. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it. And so I was shocked that I tried on, I ended up getting 4 pieces, one whole outfit that will debut on her site probably over the weekend or early next week. I was able to try on another outfit that I love, the Coco Chanel fit. Love it. This is the fashion fit. Love it. Look at the sleeves.
Yeah,
I love it.
The sleeves kind of like, so it's stretchy. The material is like really, really stretchy. And like she said, she's a beautiful plus size model is what we will say, because she is a model. And she's wearing a size large, and look, it looks really good on her. Really, really good. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
It looks really good on her. So I mean, something I think I have some things that you can wear, just depending on your comfort, how you feel, and in the description, the description on my website, I usually put like the material and let you know like if it's stretchy or not. So you can just go by that, and if you feel like it's stretchy, I would purchase and try it and see. And I am going to try to start doing more videos, more IGTV videos, just to kind of show you guys the material, let you see how it stretches and stuff like that, just to give you like a live look on most of the sets and stuff that I do have. And that'll kind of, give you some insight on whether you would like to purchase or not.
Very nice. And so really quickly, Vinny noted one should follow his or her dreams. I think in school and life, one doesn't get to know about his or her dreams. After college or while studying in college, it's like everyone gets to know what he or she wants to do for a living. Nowadays, chilling is good, but just chilling for your whole life is not good. Loving work, doing a job in the field that he or she is passionate into is really important in today's era. Parents have happy tears in his or her eyes when they see their kids doing a good and nice job in India. For me, I want to either be a teacher or an accountant in banking because I have a passion for these two things. Awesome, and thanks for sharing, Vinny. And it's true, sometimes we really don't know, what we want to do. We end up, like Shayna mentioned, she's an LPN, but she's going back to school now, and she's furthering her career. But then in addition to that, she's following her passion and inspiring women all over the world to be themselves. And I love it. I love one of the quotes on her page: "The hate cannot overpower the hustle."
Yes. And you heard it here first.
Yes, I love it. That is a quote from Shafierce herself. Yes. And I say it's so true. So whatever it is you want to become, Vinny, in your case, being a teacher or an accountant in banking, definitely go for it and do it. And the thing is, a lot of times we don't think that our skills can transfer across industries. But I believe that because ironically, a lot like what I'm doing now, by trade, my background is in training and development. But what I'm doing now, I actually did for training because I would work on videos, I would work on graphics. So now for my own business, I'm able to do those things, but it's from the skills that I learned from my trade. So it all comes together. It's full circle. Yep. Any questions from anyone? I have a few more questions, but I'm checking the chats just to see if any new questions have come in. I don't see any. So, okay. So the next question I ask you, I know you talked about inspiration. So what inspires you? Or who inspires you?
So I have spent, this is so funny because I remember Tamaria telling me some of the questions last night, and I had no answers for anything. But the one question that stood out to me was the one that she just asked me. And she doesn't even know this, that I'm about to say this, but I thought of that question. That question was on my mind all last night. And I was like, oh my gosh, why is that question on my mind so much? And I thought about it when I got up this morning, and I was like, when we're in interviews or, somebody asks us that question, I think a lot of us are quick to, say that the person that inspires or choose a person that inspires us or somebody we look up to. And I thought, I have so many people that inspire me to do certain things, so many things that inspire me. But I thought this morning when I looked in the mirror and I was doing my makeup, I was like, you know what? I inspire me. My biggest inspiration is me. And that's so true. I say that to say, I have been through so much and I have jumped so many obstacles, hurdles. And where I am now today, I think when I look in the mirror, I think of that and I'm just like, man, like, I even thought at one time 10 years ago, I wouldn't be where I am today because every time that, how can I put it? Every time that big obstacle came or, that trial came, it was like, oh my gosh, she felt like it was over. Like, I can't get through this. How am I going to get through this? I've looked back and I saw how I've always been able to find a way to push through whatever it was I was going through. Always, even when it felt like I could never make it, I always somehow find a way, like get that faith and find a way to just knock it out and just move forward. And every time I've done that and I've moved forward, I've grown. I've grown gradually. So I just said, you know what, I inspire me because I don't even know. So I was like, where did this fear come from? Fear where? Like, girl, you have overcome so much personally. So I'll try to tell a story without saying too much. But you know, when I was in high school, I completed on time, and when it was time to graduate and walk across the stage, I had got my tickets and everything, invites and everything, to set up for graduation. And the day before it was time to actually graduate, I got a phone call from my counselor, and she just said, I need you to come up to the school. We need to talk. And this was about 5 p.m. I did go to night school. I transitioned into night school, so that's why it was later on in the evening when she called me. So she was like, I need you to come in. Bring somebody with you. So I'm like, oh my gosh, bring somebody with me. What does this mean? I brought my mom. We went up to talk to her. This is how I know I impact people. And this is from young age now. When I went up to the school to talk to her, this is my counselor. She was already in tears before I could sit down to even talk to her. So I sat down and I talked to her, and she said, I hate to have to tell you this, but you can't walk tomorrow. So I'm like, I can't walk tomorrow. Why? Like, why? And she explained to me why, and it did make sense after she explained to me why. There was something with the standards of learning tests that were, I think it was brought up maybe like 2004. Well, I was supposed to take those tests, and it was like six tests, 4 or 6, I can't really remember, but I was supposed to take those tests. Because I transferred from my local high school daytime program to the night school program, they hadn't transferred the fact that I did not take those tests. And in order, I don't care what your GPA is, I don't care, honor roll, whatever, you cannot graduate unless you take those tests and pass them. I didn't take them. We didn't know where I was supposed to take them. Wow. It was last minute, very hurtful. Very hurtful. Felt like giving up and everything. But of course, I walked away from it like, okay, it is what it is, but she helped me. She was like, listen, we're going to set you up to take these over the summer. You can come back, you can graduate, get your diploma, whatever the case is. So of course I was upset. I got over it. I went back and took the test. This was 2000, I want to say like 2005. Well, I took the test, passed all the tests but math. This is 2006. Took the test again in 2006, failed math again. Took the test in 2007, failed math again. Now, I was supposed to have been graduated in 3 years now. Took the test in 2007, failed it. So the middle of 2007, I found out about a medical assisting program. Went to the medical assistant program. They let me go without my diploma, but they said that by the end of the program, I had to have a GED or my high school diploma. So, of course, I said, I'm going to continue to work towards passing this math test so that I can get my diploma. Because I said, I spent my years in high school. I want my high school diploma. Right. So, I attended the class. The class ended the following year, 2008, April. Well, April, the day before I was supposed to graduate from the medical assisting program, I had to take the test for the math test again. This is my 4th time taking the math SOL test. Wow. So, and this is at the high school, I've met their new principal. This is past 4 years. I've seen her coming in to take the test. I took the test, and somehow they could get the results. Like, they had come up with a system they could get it right away after you finish. So she was like, I want you to sit after you take the test so that we can look in the computer and see if you passed it. So she looked in the computer to see if I passed it. Actually, the teacher the class when I was in, the teacher did it. And the teacher called down. She was like, give me a second, called down to the assistant principal. And the assistant principal came up, and they were looking on the computer. I'm already crying because I'm like, you know what? I failed it again. I failed it. When they came up to me, tears in their eyes, You passed it. Like when I tell you, they started yelling and shouting, and I mean, it was crazy in the classroom. It was crazy. And she was just telling me, she was like, you know what? She was like, I have never, she said, this is my first time experiencing this with someone. She said, you have been here for the past 4 years and you have taken this test 4 times. The fact that you have never given up after 4 years and you still came back to get that diploma. So she was like, girl, you better go ahead. And I was like, you know what? And I think about that story. I've been through much more, but I think about this story, how I never gave up. Like, I'm not giving up. If it's something that I want, I'm going to get it. I'm just learning now how to be more consistent and just be more, how can I say it? Be more attentive and more consistent now. But I think about that story. I inspire me. I inspire me a whole lot. Just from the things that I've been through and have been able to overcome. I'm my biggest inspiration, and that's what keeps me going. Of course, beside myself, you know, inspiration, of course, my family and my kids are my inspiration. You know, they inspire me to keep going and to keep moving. But my biggest inspiration would be me.
That's an amazing story. And I didn't even, I didn't know all the details. Yeah. But that does show, you know, your strength, your resilience, your tenacity, like you're able to keep going. And so it's not a surprise now when you think about business, the no's won't stop you because you're like, wait, I've already overcome this. I've been through this. Yeah. And like you said, like the fear, like where it comes from when you know, like, you know what, I face things that are harder or worse, and you still keep pushing forward. Yep. That's awesome. Well, know that I'm very proud of you. And there is a comment on in the chat, and it says everybody lives differently, and that's oh wait, I missed the comment. Okay, so it's tough to get a job. It's obvious that one sees bad days in life. It's obvious that there are gonna be ups and downs, but on one or the other day, a person becomes successful for sure. Oh, and this is going back to the prior discussion. Okay. While going through bad phases of life, like because of not cracking or qualifying in interviews, one should really motivate himself or herself. One should be positive from inside and shouldn't be demotivated because of failures. When one fails, one should remember the proverb, failures are the stepping stones for success. And also patience. A good personality, good communication skills is required for getting a good job. Everybody lives differently, and that's pretty obvious. So everybody has a different way of living. So when one faces failure, it's really important to motivate himself or herself. Everybody feels positive through different ways. For me, watching Indian television soaps and operas inspired me to study. And that's why I was a student. I think I scrolled too fast. Give me one moment. Oh, and that's why I was a student who was good in studies, facing problems, obstacles, and a must in the journey of life. All a person has to do is find positivity in their negative or bad times, because the positivity surely helps by giving us rays of hope. And it's also important to make hay while the sun shines. Whatever a person dreams is he or she should fulfill that dream, no matter how much he or she has to face obstacles. Taking breaks is okay, but giving up is wrong. A person, shucks, I scrolled too fast again. I apologize. Never give up, just take breaks. Aim for the goals. You will get it one or the other day for sure. And also, we all know the proverb, Rome wasn't built in a day. All a person needs is a positive attitude inside him or her during their negative times. And that is from Vinny. Okay. So thank you. And wow, Shayna, like that is an awesome testimony. And I'm pretty sure, like you said, a lot of people, if faced with that, they may have given up depending on their circumstances. So I love the fact that you have realized and that you can see it. So I'm glad you couldn't sleep last night and you realized that you motivate yourself, you inspire yourself. And similar to the comment, like keeping a positive attitude and still being able to persevere even in the face of adversity, I think it's pretty dope. And Consetta Teal, hi, said amen. She is agreeing with you. Yes. And welcome to the show. And earlier you talked about meeting individuals and just inspiring people. We actually met for my birthday at the Crazy Crab in Fairfax. So we met and we were just talking. So welcome to the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. And she, my husband, and I, we just had a full conversation. And she was sitting across from us. But you never know who you will have an opportunity to talk to in your life. And like we had a great conversation with her that one day, and who you can inspire. So you sharing your testimony, even though I know it's something really personal, it probably will liberate and help so many people who may not even know that they need it.
Right.
So that encouragement, that is really encouraging. Yeah. Awesome testimony.
Yeah.
So I'm checking to see if there's any other questions. So far there aren't. Is there anything in particular you want to say, or not necessarily a question or a topic that you would like to talk about or share with the listeners?
I think I think my main thing, just the fear. Like, I just want people to know that, get rid of that fear. That is the biggest thing that held me back from really persevering in my business. I would just say get rid of that fear. I started in 2015. It is 2020. I've changed so much. Like I said, those that know me, I started off just doing all makeup. And even though I'm good at it, I don't enjoy being the artist on other people. I found that out about myself. I don't like doing makeup. I love to teach it. I love to teach you how to do makeup. I can teach you all day. So between 2015 and now, our Shafierce collection has changed a lot. And I would just say, just don't give up. Keep working until you actually find your niche, what it is you actually want to put together and bring together. Like I said, starting off in just cosmetics only, I knew that I wanted, and I had more to offer than just cosmetics. Because Shafierce is not just cosmetics; like, it's the whole look. That's another one. We serve a whole look over here at Shafierce Collection. Okay,
I love it.
So I knew I wanted to add more. So I would just say keep going, add as much as you want. Find your niche, find what drives you, what you like, and just do it. Do not let fear and what you see other people doing discourage you from doing what it is you want to do, whether it's the same thing, whether it's similar. It does not matter. It is room for everybody to do what it is they want to do. The most important thing is just to find out what makes you different, because that is what's going to drive people to you, is what makes you different from other people, what makes you different from what this other person is doing. So don't let fear stop you, and consistency. So when I leave here, when you think of Shafierce, I want you to think of fear and consistency. And those two, you have to let go of one, and you have to continue to do the other. So after this, this podcast, I just want you guys to think of that, fear and consistency when it comes to business. Be fearless and more consistency. And that means every day. You have something every day. And you need to have something every day contribute to your business. It does not necessarily mean you have to post something every day, but you need to be looking at your business every day, seeing what you can improve on, what you can change, what kind of content you can bring, research, and still do research. We don't know everything. Even the millionaire doesn't know everything, because true. Of course there's new trends. Somebody that was hot 10 years ago, they still have to keep up with what's going on now 10 years later. So you're always researching, research before you do anything. So that's what I would say. That's what has helped me in these past couple of months.
That's awesome. And you touched on a really important topic, is that the consistency, of course, but the fear. And I know we've talked about this just ourselves, like personally, but fear literally can stop you in your tracks, where you feel paralyzed. And I think it was episode, I had to look up my notes, episode 2, snakes. We talked about the spirit of Python and how it literally, the goal is to make you fearful. And some people refer to it as like a spirit of divination. And literally they said that it is meant to like choke you. And ironically, I listened to this gentleman who used to be like a high priest in like I don't know what they call it, but like he's a Satanist. And he said how they pray for people in the world to be fearful and afraid. And I was like, wait, so this is like a spiritual battle, which we know, like, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spirits. But at the same time, I think that really shook me to my core, because I didn't realize how much fear can literally paralyze us. and stop us from moving forward. So to Shayna's point, be consistent, but don't allow the enemy to make you fearful. And if you need some encouragement, I do encourage you all to read Psalms 91. It talks about how we are overcome. And so look at fear like the serpent. Mm-hmm. And in Psalms 91, verse 13, it says, you will tread on the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent. So we won't be afraid. In 2 Corinthians 11:3, but disregard that one. You can still read that one, but that wasn't the one I was actually looking for. But it was regarding the fear. It's also in Luke 10 that says he has given us authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all of the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. However, do not rejoice that the spirits submit to you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. And so when you talked about fear and praying and all those things, it made me think about when we had those like different discussions over time, but then it made me also think about that episode where it was all about like fear and how the enemy tries to trick us. Yeah. So I say kudos to you for pushing forward and also recognizing what it is that was holding you back. Yeah. So I'm checking really quickly online. Any questions for our special guest here? And for anyone who just joined, again, I am sitting here with Shayna Arnold, LPN and CEO of Shafierce Collection. On Instagram, her name is Shafierce, SHAFIERCE_collection on IG. And her website is shafierce.com. So I'll be sure to post this once I post the show. I'll post the link to her website and also her IG name. So let's see. I did have one other question for you. And it's with regard to, you mentioned it earlier. You say you may see the negative comments and you see positive comments, but you choose to focus on the positive. How do you handle situations or people who may try to demotivate or discourage you?
As far as like responding back to them in the comments or something, or because if I see something negative, most of the time I just delete it and block that person and don't even feed into it or give them any kind of energy. I don't feed into the energy. But like I said, the post that I posted to block distractions, because sometimes when I feel like I'm ready to just go in, you know what, I'm about to type and I'm about to go in on this person. I erased it and I'm like, you know what, just pray about it. God, block this distraction, because I know that's all it is. It's just a distraction. It's just a way to throw me off of my tracks and throw me off of my game. We can't have this. So we have to go and pray. Easier said than done, but all you have to do is go and pray. You don't have to have a specific prayer. Just talk to them. You can just sit down and talk, go in the closet, talk to them, let them know, you know what, I need you to block this distraction. It's bothering me. I can't focus. I feel like it's throwing me off. Lord, please help me. And that's it.
Amen.
That's it.
That is so true. I am really excited, that Shayna is on with us today. This has been so encouraging and uplifting. I hope that you all are feeling inspired and being able to hear, what she has gone through, how she's overcome, and how she's turning that passion into something that's real on the job, her day job as a nurse, but then also outside of work, really inspiring and living for and working for herself and her family, making sure that she's following her passions. And as she mentioned with Shafierce, how over the years it's evolved. So not being afraid to do something different. And these are just some of the things I'm taking away from this is, not be afraid to change your direction or do something different. And then realizing, as you all mentioned, Shayna stated earlier, you may see someone making $1 million in 6 months, but did it start out like that? And I know Vinny chimed in to also mention like Rome not being built in a day. It's so true. Because I think we do see the facade. We see the astroturf and we think it's grass. And so in our minds, we're like, oh my gosh, that grass is greener. But I wasn't consistent in watering my own grass. So now I'm comparing my life to something that's not even real. And there's a lot of facades when you think about it, but we don't know that. We only see what people show us. Yeah. And so to Shayna's point, like you really focus, and a guest or one of the guests earlier, Taz, mentioned, staying in your lane, if I'm not mistaken. Or she mentioned being consistent. And then actually, I think it may have been on Facebook. My apologies. But just really making sure that we are focused on whatever it is that we're working on and being able to do work that inspires and really helps other people. But also in doing that work, it really helps you. And I'm learning even for myself with CC America, which stands for Confidence Centers of America. As a person who struggled with self-esteem over the years, my goal was to inspire other people. And I feel like now I'm able to do this by having special guests on, by talking to my family and friends, by talking to each one of you, and really building each other up and encouraging you all to just be strong. Even in the midst of adversity, with everything going on in the world, we definitely need people who are going to stand up, tell their truth, share their truth, and encourage other people to just keep going, because you can do it whatever your goals are. And Vinny noted, if a person demotivates a person, then it's like I wouldn't be harsh or be furious, but would try my best to motivate him kindly to achieve his or her goals in life. Even if he or she doesn't agree with what I'm trying to explain kindly, then I will ignore him or her, won't be disrespectful. And the thing that I will also say to him before leaving is, if you need me, I will always be there for you in bad times. So like really turning the lemons into lemonade is what I would say. With regard to Vinny's comment, is like, okay, you know what? I don't have to meet you where you are. And like Shayna said, she may at times want to respond, but then realizing, you know what? Is it worth it? Let me just delete this comment. Let me delete this from my feed and let me move on, so that she isn't distracted.
Right. Yep.
Awesome. This has been like really exciting. I try to keep the shows to an hour, to be cognizant of your time and everyone else's time. But I'm definitely fine with going over. Our last show we went over. It was 2 hours long, and Shayna was on that show with us as well. And Benny was also tuned in. Tasha, quite a few people. So we are really excited again to have you all. Any closing comments for you, or any thoughts, or anything that you didn't get to share that you would like to share?
No, just keep just keep going. Whoever want to start their business, just start it. Just do it. Research first, of course, and just start it. I'm not sure if Sabrina's still here, but I kind of wanted her. I know she has a business that she started as well. She does planners. Not sure if she's
nice.
here, but let me give you her information.
Okay, and thanks for doing that. And I'll make sure to put all of the links for Instagram, websites. I'll put them in the comments when I post the replay of the show, so that you all will have it.
So I kind of, and if whoever else is on, if you have like a small business, I kind of do want you guys to just say what your business is. We don't just use audio or type what your business is, just so we can give your business a shout out and see if we can reach a few people. But is Sabrina here?
I think she may have.
Okay,
I think she may be disconnected.
She has. So Sabrina Arnold, she does planners. She makes planners. They are really, really creative planners, really cute. Her page is called writeofpages. Let's see. It's called writeofpages, WriteofPages, and that's on Instagram. Her caption is Planner Addict Reaching Goals. We know that goals can seem hard to achieve, but with the right tools in place, you can reach each and every one of them. So I would give her a follow, give her a look, take a look at her page. Really nice and cute planners she has for sales, and everybody needs planners, okay? Especially if you have a small business. Of course, for everybody, but small business always planners, so that you can have stuff written down, important dates written down, important information written down. I believe she can customize them to your liking as well. So I would definitely hit her up if you are in need of a planner, nice. Something stylish or whatever. Yep. But if anybody else has a business, I would love to hear, your business, and I would love to check you out as well.
Thank you, and thanks for doing that. I think that's awesome. And this again goes back to Shayna's heart, and you all heard about it a little bit earlier if you were tuned in. How she talked about, being someone who gives, and that was a really good topic. In terms of, she talked about how there can be more than one person doing the same thing. And we didn't touch on it a whole lot after that, but I did want to make a comment about that. I think what Shayna said is key. And when you were talking, it made me think about bread. Mm-hmm. I know this might sound random, but there are so many loaves of bread. And the reason being is there can be more than one person doing the same thing. And like she said, there's lots of lipstick, there's lots of clothes. You may be discouraged, feeling like, you know what? There's a lot of people doing this. But if there wasn't a need, there wouldn't be a wholesaler. Mm-hmm. That's why they have wholesalers, so that you can retail. And like she said, you figure out what your competitive advantage is. So I love the fact that she's encouraging you all too, if you have a small business or if you have something that you want to share, to put it out there, to let people know. You all can send her a direct message. You can send me a message. I can share it on my page. But essentially, it's really uplifting people and letting individuals know that it doesn't matter, how many people are doing it. Whatever is meant for you is for you. Mm-hmm. And no one can take that away. Everyone has their own dreams, their own passions, as you all have stated earlier. Shayna's been talking about that this whole show, is following after your dreams, your passions, and achieving your goals. Mm-hmm. And personally, as Shayna mentioned, she started this, over 5 years ago. I wrote down the vision for CC America in 2010. Mm-hmm. And here it is, 2020, that I'm finally doing it. But as you mentioned, over the years, I would start, stop, start, stop. And most of the time, it was because there was something. You had mentioned distractions. Mm-hmm. Every time I wanted to launch, there would be something that would happen. And I would be like, why? Like, this is crazy. Like, literally the week after this year, I went and filled out the paperwork in my city to really start my business and go hard for my business. It was in January. The next week, I found out I was pregnant. Two weeks later, I found out I was having a miscarriage. A month later, my miscarriage ended, and the first episode of this podcast launched, because I said, you know what? Yeah. I could have literally died, and I would be still sitting on this dream that God gave me 10 years ago. And I think about what you said about, there are other people who might be selling similar things, but they're not going to do it like you would do it. Right. And you have a different niche. Mm-hmm. You have a different target audience that you're trying to reach. And there's people who need your message. Mm-hmm. And so there's thousands of podcasts. And I could have said, you know what, I'm not going to do it. But then I wouldn't have an opportunity to talk to fabulous people like you and allow you to share your story and testimony, and hopefully, change the trajectory of someone's life, because they hear something that you said and they think to themselves, you know what, I can do it. And they take that step forward in faith. So we are so grateful for each of you all joining. I don't see any other comments in here. I will let you know, I know that one of the guests that's on here, they also have a business, Tiffany Perry. She does nails. And she has her own nail studio, really, really great nail artist. You can follow her on Facebook. First name Tiffany, Tiffany, last name Perry, Perry. But again, if you all have your business, you want to share it, send me a direct message. I am on Instagram as ccamericallc. It's all one word. Or T Allen Inspires. That's the easier one. And then you'll see posts to my other pages. And then Confident Connotations, which is my apparel line that I wrote the vision for. And I'm finally, the vision, I made it plain. I'm finally doing it. So thank you so much, Shayna. Again, for anyone who joined a little bit later, I am wearing the Fashion Fit from Shafierce collection. Shayna is also wearing one of her newest outfits that will be posted on the site either later this weekend or early next week. So really excited. And let me see if there's any other comments. Okay, bear with me one moment. I think So Vinny, I left the last comment that I read was working on your goals. Okay, so then I think so the question was, tell me the schedule, the podcast. Okay, yes. So the podcast schedule. So that's a great question. Vinny and I, when I was on maybe a few weeks ago, was the message "Do as I say." Vinny actually joined me on the podcast live, and we had a really good discussion about parenting and leading by example. So that is a podcast that's available in the archive, so you all can take a listen. But he was asking about the schedule, and that's a good question. I was doing the podcast on Sunday nights at 7. That's typically when they air. But the last couple of weekends, I've had a special guest, so we've been doing the show on Saturday mornings. And I typically will post on social media when the podcast will be released. We are trying the Zoom platform. So if it's a regular podcast and I'm just setting it up, it probably will still remain on Sundays at 7 p.m. But the podcast does air every other week, so bi-weekly. And my goal will be to share on Instagram when the podcast will actually air if we're doing a live recording using Zoom. So thank you so much. And the other question is, what is the time zone? It's the Eastern Standard Time Zone. So if you're looking at the different time zones on the drop-down list, it would be like a New York time zone. But other than that, usually it's every other Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But when I have a special guest, sometimes we do it on a Saturday in the morning, just so that we can get everything in and everyone can start their week off on, as James Brown would say, on the good foot. But thank you, Vinny. Great question. I was trying to make sure, for some reason on the comments, it all ran together. So I was trying to see the last comment and the new comment. It merged the two. So I appreciate each and every one of you for joining today's show on Podbean, on Zoom, and also on Facebook. And until next time, definitely be sure to tune in. I will post when the show will air, and on Instagram and Facebook, but I'll also try to figure out a way for me to know when the show will air on Podbean so that you can see it. Everyone, please take care, be safe. I hope you, your family, and friends continue to stay safe during this pandemic. Sending much love to you all around the world, from me and Shafierce.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Thanks. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.